Esteemed guests, buenas tardes, and welcome to the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Monday Luncheon, opportunities for Latino businesses through government economic recovery initiatives. Our luncheon has been generously supported by our signature sponsors, Google and J.P. Morgan Chase, gold sponsors, DoorDash, the Libre Initiative, and Visa, silver sponsors, Advent Health, American Petroleum Institute, and Edison Electric Institute. To help begin our program, we welcome to the stage our USHCC Chairman of the Board, Nelson Raineri.
Buenas tardes. Buenas tardes. Wow, to come out and have a standing ovation, but then to realize is that you haven't taken your seats yet, okay? Hey, on behalf of my fellow board members, on behalf of Romero and his wonderful team, it is such a pleasure to thank you and to be with you today and to thank all our sponsors and to thank especially, again, our chambers, our chamber leaders and chamber members, and of course, our Hispanic business enterprises. We have a tremendously exciting panel today. You may have heard some of these names: Department of Navy, Department of Commerce, Google, AT&T, J.P. Morgan Chase. It reminds me de lo que decía mi abuelita, dime con quién tú andas y digo quién tú eres, right? Así que, but before we start, just look to the person next to you and say, man, you look good. Yeah. And then look to the other person and say, can we get a deal going here? Can we do some business? Come on, all right? We are so excited to have a wonderful conference, which each time the bar just keeps getting higher and higher. And I think what's exciting about the panel today is that we're living in very unique times. And the amount of capital from the public and private sector that is going out there to try to address some of the objectives and some of the challenges that we're seeing and we're advocating for is really unprecedented. And the Chamber, under the leadership of this board and the CEO the last few years, has really made that advocacy a core piece of our strategy. And I really want to thank, again, our team, especially those in Washington throughout the country, and the partnerships we've established to then make sure that, as Congressman Castro once said, that there's no designs in the flaw and the implementation of these plans as they go out. So we look forward to your partnership, to your thoughts, your advice. Please let us know. The door is always open. And buen provecho, and thank you again for all your support. Have a great lunch. Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
En la clase de hoy va a aprender cómo usar YouTube para hacer crecer su negocio.
2.
Si yo lo puedo hacer, también ustedes lo pueden hacer.
3.
Puede informar a sus clientes si ha cambiado su horario comercial.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Honored guests, we welcome to the stage for brief sponsor remarks, Senior Marketing Manager for Google, Lucy Pinto. Thank you.
Hola a todos y muy buen provecho. My name is Lucy Pinto, and I'm here on behalf of Grow with Google, where I lead programs that help create economic opportunity for small businesses through digital skills education. And first and foremost, I just want to thank the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, Ramiro, Nelson, Cynthia, the entire leadership team for their tireless efforts to advance equity for our community and for bringing us together at this incredible conference. Is everyone having a good time? See? Sí, que se oiga. So as an immigrant from Peru who grew up with a lack of access to resources, I'm really humbled that I get to work on initiatives at Google to help provide equitable access and economic opportunity to help Latino-owned businesses thrive paso a paso, como vieron en el video, like you saw in the video. Some of you might have seen these resources in action today via our Florida digital coach, Vicente Pimienta, who hosted our new cybersecurity workshop to help small businesses just now. Vicente offers training across Florida through our Grow with Google Digital Coaches program, which is a program that provides ongoing workshops and coaching through a network of local experts. We also have our California digital coach here, Roberto Martinez, who I know many of you know, sits on the board of the USHCC as well. So Roberto and Vicente are with us today. I'm actually going to take this time and ask that they both stand up and raise their hands. And while I have you here, because I'm a proponent that you have to give people their flowers ASAP if they are due for them, and you guys are doing an incredible job in your states to provide digital coaching and free training for Latino-owned businesses and other diverse businesses. So thank you, Vicente. Thank you, Roberto, for what you're doing. In addition to digital skills education, we also amplify these resources through partners like the USHCC, other partners as well, like the Small Business Digital Alliance, and I know there are some national members here who we have in the room. But in addition to that, we recognize that Latino companies and startups continue to be underfunded, and that's why we also created the Latino Founders Fund. If you're not familiar with the Latino Founders Fund, it's a fund that offers Latino founders $150,000 in non-dilutive cash. And since launching the fund, we have deployed more than $5 million to Latino founders across the country. Yeah. Now, separate but related to small business growth, we know that Latino workers in particular play an increasingly crucial role in maintaining the success of our economy, but too many report lacking digital skills, making them vulnerable to job displacement. And at Google, we are helping bridge this gap through our Google Career Certificates, which are flexible online programs that help people develop job-ready skills for in-demand jobs in fields such as cybersecurity, data analytics, and more. Not only can these certificates future-proof workers, they also help small businesses. In fact, 69% of employers, and that's many of you here in the room, report talent shortages and difficulty hiring, right? And mainly, it's due to skills gap. And so we're really excited to have seen more than 2,000 businesses, employers sign up to use our certificates to upskill and reskill their workforce or improve employee engagement. So as you can see, as you saw in the video, paso a paso, we're striving to drive change and economic opportunity para nuestra comunidad. And while I'm really proud of the work that Google is doing to help our community, I would be remiss to not say, none of that is possible without our ecosystem of partners like the U.S. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. So in closing, thank you, USHCC, for your incredible partnership throughout the years. Provecho, and I'm really excited to join you all in elevating Latino businesses today and tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you for those words, Lucy. Now, here to introduce our Luncheon's featured speaker is USHCC board member Rachel Coots.
Hola! You know, I wasn't nervous till they told me I had a clock, so thank you all for having me here. This is my third conference event, and they just keep getting better and better. So I hope you're all having a fabulous time. I'm with AT&T. Hopefully some of you have heard of us. We are very, very proud of the work that we do in communities. I lead the product supply chain organization. So we just had a very busy week launching what some of you have probably heard of, the Apple iPhone 15. So hopefully you all received your devices. I am using the Samsung Fold. I know, ooh. But I am here also to talk about the work that AT&T does in the community. So not only do I lead the organization that brings all these great products to you, but I also lead the Supplier Diversity and Sustainability Organization. And the reason this is because I am a firm believer that those programs belong in the operation. There's no way for those businesses to stay together and for the Supplier Diversity Organization to be run like a business unless it's in the business. And so that is what brought me to the board of the USHCC, and I'm very happy to be here. Just so you know, AT&T spent several $1 billion with Hispanic-owned businesses last year. That's billions. And we've created over 450,000 jobs in the diverse community. So we are very, very proud of our program. Thank you. All right, but enough about me because I am here to introduce somebody that is making me a little bit nervous because she is just so profound. I am introducing you to Alejandra Castillo, the Assistant Secretary of Commerce for Economic Development at the U.S. Economic Development Administration. Alejandra has spent her career creating equitable and inclusive opportunities for all Americans. And in her current role, she guides the implementation of over $5 billion in funding, we're talking a lot of billions today, powering the U.S. Economic Development Administration in its mission to make transformational investments in America. Throughout her professional journey, she has served in many impactful capacities, including leadership positions under 3 presidential administrations, Presidents Biden, Obama, and Clinton. Alejandra's work at the U.S. Economic Development Administration makes her an ideal featured speaker during today's session, and I'm very excited for her to share her expertise on this very important topic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Alejandra Castillo.
Muy buenas tardes. Pero hay que tener más ánimos que eso. Muy buenas tardes. Fantástico. Feliz mes de la hispanidad. Y no solamente estamos celebrando nuestra cultura, nuestro idioma, nuestra herencia, pero nuestros empresarios. So I always like to start a little bit of my speeches in Spanish because I come from a family my grandmother was very adamant that we had to keep our traditions. And I know that not all of us speak Spanish, but at least to be able to come together in family, and this is wonderful. I have seen so many amazing friends that it's been years, but the fact that we're here to not only break bread together, and I know that I stand between you and lunch, but more importantly, to think about the future. I want us all to wear a futurist hat. At this current moment, the federal government not only is investing, but it's making sure that equity is at the center. And here's what I will tell you. There are 4 pieces of legislation, and if you have not read them, if you haven't been tracking them, please do so. It begins with the American Rescue Plan. It's the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law. It's the Inflation Reduction Act. It's the CHIPS and Science Act. These 4 pieces of legislation are transforming our economy before our eyes. Thank you. And that's great, but here's what keeps me up at night, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, and for those of you who know me, I was really grappling. How strong should I be with this message? And I said, I need to be, as my fellow Colombians say, a calzón quitado. And here's why. Because the future is being designed, the rules of engagement are being developed right now. And USHCC is that perfect entity to be at the middle of it all. But I want to make sure that you also understand, because it is important to not just follow the legislation and follow the programs, but also follow the money. A lot of these dollars are coming from the federal government to the states. So if you are in a number of states, make sure that you're working through your governors. Because as we know, sometimes these states are not necessarily putting the dollars where they need to be in our communities. So we're doing our part at the federal level, and I know that Administrator Guzman is going to be speaking to you in a minute. I know that my colleague Jessica Cavasso is here from MBDA. I know that Secretary of the Navy was here as well. We are showing up not because it's a check the box. We are showing up to sound the alarm that as you think about your businesses, think about the big pivot. And that big pivot is going to be, what are the industries that the government is putting dollars into? So when I spoke about the CHIPS and Science Act, I spoke about it because you probably have been hearing about semiconductors and how important semiconductors are to everything that we use, from cars to refrigerators. And the fact that $52 billion is going into the semiconductor business. I also want to draw your attention that in the bipartisan infrastructure law, it's not just bridges and roads and all of the things that we have underinvested for decades, but also about broadband. We saw that the pandemic put a bright light in our communities where our kids could not continue their educations, our grandparents couldn't do telemedicine, our businesses were not prepared for e-commerce. So the fact that the Biden-Harris administration is putting dollars to make sure that there's internet for all, that's the type of infrastructure that is 21st century infrastructure that our communities need. And again, those dollars are going to the states. So while it is important to have a federal strategy, for those of you that are leading chambers, make sure that not only are you communicating at the federal level, but also at the state level. I want to draw your attention in the few minutes that I have left, because this is my passion. Right now, the Economic Development Administration used to be a very small agency within Commerce, U.S. Department of Commerce. Some of you may know we have 13 different agencies within Commerce, everything from NOAA, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, to U.S. Patent and Trademark. You can go on our website and see all the different agencies, including MBDA and EDA. EDA was $400 million, and we went from $400 million to now over $5 billion. The challenge has been, it's not that we don't have projects, but we want to make sure that we are putting those dollars where they're most needed and that where they can be best used. And I mentioned to you that we change our investment priorities. And many of you know investment priorities is what drives the dollars. Equity's at the top. Again, not as performative as check the box, but every grant that we put out has an equity component in it. I want to invite you to be part of those processes. The way that we have changed how we provide grants has been no longer it's the federal government telling you what to do. It's now we're asking coalitions to come together and tell us what you need. You need to be part of those coalitions. The most exciting program that we have right now is called Tech Hubs. The goal is to democratize technology and innovation so that it's not just about Silicon Valley. It's not just about Boston. It's about those places across our country where there's innovation, where you all have a voice. This is a program that it's a $10 billion program. And I will tell you, 5 to 10 years from now, you're going to look back and say, wow, she told us about this. We're investing in everything from quantum computing, drone technology, lithium batteries, everything that is going to power the future. Follow it, see it. We will be making those announcements very soon. It will probably be in a place very close to you. Be part of those discussions because you will be the suppliers of those industries of the future. And if you're not in these conversations, we will be left out. You have my commitment, you have my word that I will work tirelessly to make sure that each and every one of you are part of it. And I want to recognize someone in particular. Veronica Maldonado Torres, the president of the Chamber of Georgia. If you haven't met Veronica, talk to her. Because Veronica, as she puts it, she's slaying it. She's in every grant, potentially every grant that EDA has, and many more. There is a way to do it. There are success stories in our community. Talk to each other. Figure out how do you actually manage and do these type of grants. I want to draw your attention to one other thing. Time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. I just returned from Germany last week, and I will tell you this. It is about our national economic safety and health, but it's also about our competitiveness and our national security. This is where this room comes together, not just as Latinos, but as Americans. Our entrepreneurs, our businesses are essential to the U.S. economy. Without us, our nation cannot grow. Without us, our nation cannot remain competitive. I want to implore you to continue to monitor what's happening. I'm about to leave here to attend to a possible government shutdown. That is not the way we lead our nation. And you are an important voice. So I want to make sure that you flood not only DC, but your state capitals. And I'm going to give you my email. It's very simple, acastillo@eda.gov. We do not fund private sectors in particular, but we fund public entities. So if you as a private enterprise work with your mayors, with your state legislators, and you put a proposal together to make sure that the ecosystem in which you work is stronger, that's the space that I play in. But let me leave you with this. It's an exciting time. We are actually the futurist of our nation. We are creating what this nation will be in years to come, for yourselves, for your kids, for your grandkids. But we need to do it together. And I give you my commitment and my word that my Latino community tugs at my heart every single moment. And this is the time for us to flex not only our voice, but more importantly, our entrepreneurial muscle. So thank you very much.